Everyone has to live somewhere, and everyone has to invest their money someplace. So what happens when where you live meets up with where your money is invested? Hello, real estate. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's Big Money Real Estate Daily Update. I'm Ilyce Glink. Daren Blomquist is Vice President with Realty Track, and he joins me to discuss his analysis of Boomerang Buyers, what they are and where the opportunities lie for realtors and investors. Daren, welcome back to Big Money Real Estate.
Thanks, Ilyce. Glad to be here.
All right, Boomerang Buyers. This has to be my favorite phrase of the month. What is a Boomerang Buyer?
It's a buyer who used to be a homeowner but lost their home during this housing crisis we've been going through over the last 7 or 8 years, primarily to foreclosure. We also looked at people who lost their homes to short sale during the housing crisis, basically over the last 7 years. And there's 7.3 million of these folks who've lost their homes. And the reason we really thought this was a good time to look at this is, and the boomerang, I should mention, the boomerang part of this is they used to be homeowners, but there's this anticipation that at least a healthy percentage of them will come back and want to be homeowners again.
Right.
And we thought this was a good time to look at it because the first wave of these boomerang buyers, people who started losing their homes back in 2007, are now out of the 7-year window that's typically needed at a maximum to be able to recover their credit and qualify to buy a home again with a loan. So yeah, there's 7.3 million folks. Not all of them will be hitting in 2015, but over the next 7 years, they will be hitting the market, at least potentially some of them.
Well, let's talk about that little out-of-the-box thing for a moment, because what happened originally is in 2007, the lenders kind of freaked out, the government freaked out about everybody sort of doing strategic defaults. There was a huge number of people who went into bankruptcy in 2005, 2006, as the new bankruptcy laws went into effect. And then that died down, but bankruptcy has usually an automatic 7-year out of the box, and then people going into foreclosure and short sale, the first thing we heard from Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae was, hey, we're not going to talk to any of those people for 7 years, and then magically then it was like 5 years, and then it was 3 years, and then it's like, well, maybe sooner, depending if you had a really good excuse, and blah, blah, blah. So are we already seeing that group commit back into the marketplace, or or have they really been out of the penalty box for that long?
No, I think we've seen kind of the early adopters become boomerang buyers. We hear about that anecdotally. It's hard to show in the data to trace a homeowner who lost their home and track them all the way now to someone who's become a home buyer. That's been difficult to do. But I think certainly some of those who are early adopters have taken advantage of some of the programs that allow them to get back into home ownership even faster than that kind of traditional 7-year window. But I really think the bulk of the 7 million, it's going to be over the next 7 years, because it's not just about whether they qualify, whether they have the opportunity, but we also looked at affordability, whether they have the means, that after 7 years, they definitely have the opportunity. Affordability shows whether they have the means. Some of the markets they may have been priced out of in the meantime. And then we also looked just at sheer volume of how many there were market by market to kind of come up with a list of the markets that are most likely to be impacted by these boomerang buyers.
So it'll be interesting to see exactly how that factors in. I mean, I'm sure that lenders everywhere are thinking, ooh, realtors, there could be an extra 1 million people a year who are buying a house, right? 7 million, 1 million a year are coming back online. But I don't know. It seems to me that a lot of people that I've been hearing from, either 2, 3, 4 years out, did the short sale foreclosure thing, and they're already either looking or they've decided I'm never buying again. And then you have kind of this millennial group that's coming up, doesn't really have the job or the credit yet to qualify, and they're already thinking maybe we'll just rent for a while. This homeowning thing didn't work out so well. So it'll be interesting to see if we do get some sort of a bump over the next few years, and it would be great if we did. If you look at the markets that you think this might be happening in, what would you say are the top 5 or 7 places? And is it the same like, Chicago, Detroit, Arizona, Nevada, Southern California? Are the same places Florida, the same places we've been hearing about all along, or is there somewhere else it's happening?
There are some of the same culprits. The way we looked at it is kind of, the way I laid it out is like, do these buyers have the opportunity? Do they have the motive, and do they have the means, based on affordability and also the number of these potential boomerang buyers? And then also, we also looked at demographics. How many these markets have people move there in terms of the Generation X and baby boomer populations? We wanted to see markets where there hasn't been a decrease in that population. So what we ended up with as a list of most likely markets to see these boomerang buyers actually materialize into reality was number one, Las Vegas, which maybe isn't a surprise because that was one of the hardest hit markets in the area. But it has that combination of a lot of these potential buyers, plus it's still a relatively affordable market.
Right.
And it has an increase in the population of Gen Xers and baby boomers over the last 7 years. So they haven't been fleeing that market after the recession.
And people have jobs there, right? They also, you're not exactly seeing Las Vegas suffer in terms of the number of people who are coming there. That's kind of bounced back. The number of people who are coming for the, big, huge meetings are coming back. It's kind of a strong market. Gambling, it's always one of the vice things, right?
Yeah, that's always going to bring people back, I guess. So that was at the top, but you don't see Detroit on the list because it didn't meet all that criteria. Cape Coral, Florida, one of the other epicenters of the housing crisis, is also one of those markets we think boomerang buyers are more likely to come back there. Orlando, Greeley, Colorado, which is in the Denver area, also hit very hard, but has a lot of motivation there. We see in the numbers for people to become homeowners again. And then quite a few Florida markets. Some of the surprises that showed up were places like Fayetteville, Arkansas, Des Moines, Iowa, Nashville, Tennessee, Charlotte, Charlotte, North Carolina, which all of those markets weren't on the leading edge of being hit hard by the foreclosure crisis, but they were hit hard, and there were a lot of people who lost their homes. But those markets now have the combination of affordability and rebounding economies that make it most appealing, I think, for people to actually become homeowners again. And it makes sense for them to do so when they can actually afford a home in some of those markets.
Great. Well, we'll have to see what ends up happening, Daren. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Ilyce.
Hey, and thanks for watching today's Big Money Real Estate Daily Update. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, share this video with your fellow investors, and catch up on all of the past episodes of Big Money Real Estate Daily Update. They're all out there for you. See you next time. I'm Ilyce Glink.